Hello and welcome to Dawn Chorus Writes, a Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction and audio fiction. This is Jheqia's Wednesday on Mistletoe Chronicles, part of Holiday Magic Season. And so it's written by Jheqia but narrated by Dawn, myself. Hello. So make sure you go and send Jheqia some love. All her information is in the description below. She's an amazing writer. Go and send the artist for the picture in the thumbnail some love, River. All her information is down below. And send me some love by smashing that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. You do not want to miss out on all the goodies to come and the final part of Mistletoe Chronicles. And comment down below what you think of it and what will happen next in the final part. So I hope you enjoy. Silver Bells, Adrien, Cat Noir's POV. "This party is gonna be awesome!" Nino crowed as he set up his DJ stand at the far end of the room. "Well, of course, since you're manning the music, babe," Ali replied, dropping a kiss on top of his cap as she passed, carrying a box of garlands. "Hey, Alia, want some help with that?" "Sure, sunshine. You wouldn't even need a ladder to hang these around the door." They were finishing up decorating the school cafeteria for the senior class Christmas party that evening. Adrien had convinced his father to let him attend, and his bodyguard had agreed to drop him off half an hour early to help with the setup, though he wished his father hadn't decided that he needed to dress, as if he was at a photo shoot. He had dressed as simply as he could, but a dark green dress shirt, black slacks, and wingtips was the best he could manage and still be allowed to leave the house. Still, if father has a problem with me rolling up my sleeves for some honest work, then that's his problem, not mine, he thought as he hung garlands and lights around the door. "Hey, Alia," Alex called from the refreshment tables. "Did Marinette bring those cookies yet?" "Yeah, she dropped them off at lunchtime. They're probably in the kitchen." "Thanks." "Where is Marinette?" Adrien asked, finishing his task and wandering back to the DJ booth to store the empty box. "Hi, you know my girl. Always running late," Alia said with a grin. "She's probably finishing the latest details on her dress or something. Anxious to ask her to dance, sunshine?" "Maybe," he grinned. Alia gave him a sly look. "All right, Agreste, spill." He chuckled. "What? You expect me not to ask the most gorgeous girl in the school to dance? I'm a model, not dead." "Yes!" she declared, pumping her fist in excitement. "Finally! I knew you'd fall for her sooner or later." "Don't count your chickens yet, babe," Nino said, laying the first record on the turntable to get the music started now that more people were filling in. "After all this time, I think it'll take a Christmas miracle to get these two together." If only they knew. "Well, don't look now, babe, but your Christmas miracle just walked through that door." Adrien's eyes were trapped on the vision in the doorway, and his mouth went dry. Marinette was wearing her own take on the little black dress, for nothing off the rack could fit her like that. A sweetheart neckline was wrapped tight across her chest and waist to flare out in soft, graceful swirls below her knee, showing off her black kitten heels. Tight black gauze sleeves ran to pointed cuffs over the top of her hands. Her hair hung around her face in gentle waves, giving her the look of a cuddly cat, and her cat eye makeup only added to the effect. But the finishing touch, at least as far as Adrien was concerned, was the silver bell. His bell. The bell Cat Noir had given her for Christmas just the night before. She had run a length of black silk ribbon through the loop and tied it around her neck like a choker. "Careful, bro," Nino muttered with a knowing look following his gaze. "Keep that up and you'll burn a hole right through her." But how could he not stare? There she was, his secret girlfriend and superhero partner, parading around looking as soft and sleek as a cat with his bell around her neck, as if she was wearing a collar. He felt his cheeks burn at the sight of her, and he nearly strangled himself, trying to suppress the purr that rose in his chest. He knew Marinette had grown more confident as he'd gotten older, and it was true that his lady didn't know that he was the guy she'd kissed on a balcony during those secret dates of theirs. But seeing that silver bell nestled against her throat like that, he knew he shouldn't feel this way, that she was her own woman and made her own choices. But seeing her like this stirred his inner cat. She wore his collar around her neck for everyone to see. Ladybug was his. Marinette was his. And she proclaimed it with every step she took, setting the silver bell and his heart ringing. Adrien sauntered over to her, his hand behind his back in what he hoped looked like a casual manner. He could hear Alia snickering behind him. She had been angling to get him and Marinette together for years. Little did she know they were together, just that her best friend was dating the Black Cat of Paris instead of their mild-mannered classmate. He couldn't help but smirk. Being the one in the know was so much fun. Maybe someday he could watch Alia's face when he told her everything that had happened underneath her nose. Then I would have to run away, 'cause Alia would kill me, he thought with a chuckle he couldn't suppress. The girl of his dreams was talking to Max and Markov about the latest video game release, debating the pros and cons of direct confrontation versus sneak attacks with different characters. "Hey, Marinette," he said as he got closer. "Oh, hi, Adrien," she said brightly. "We were just discussing Grand Thor's dungeons. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but it looks pretty good." "Yes, the augmented graphics and the expansion packs will make this an improved experience over its predecessors," Max added. He looked at Adrien shrewdly for a moment and then glanced at Marinette, and his smile twitched in amusement. "I think I will check in with Kim. Knowing him as I do, there is an 87.6% chance that he's trying to lure Alex into another contest. I believe everyone would be understandably upset if the party was cancelled due to a flooded space again." "Indeed," Markov chimed in. "Last year's incident was most unfortunate, and Alex won regardless of Kim's truly exceptional leap that resulted in the broken sprinkler system." They wandered off together to look for their friend, and Marinette giggled. "I've known Kim and Max for years, and it still surprises me how well they get along," she said, grinning after them. "They seem to have nothing in common, and yet they're best friends." "Who knows?" he chuckled. "You look gorgeous, by the way. Your own design, of course?" He eyed her up and down, carefully noticing the blush that splashed across her cheeks. Yeah, thanks." Her ocean eyes were wide, and her fingers fiddled nervously with the strap of her small purse. "You look nice, too." Adrien ignored the compliment, enjoying teasing his lady too much to pay it much mind. Reaching over, he flicked her bell as often as she did to tease him, sending it dancing in the hollow of her neck. He leaned in with a smirk. "You know, with that dress and that bell, you look like a Lady Cat Noir." He expected her to jump, blushing as red as a rose, and stammer through asking how Adrien knew about her secret superhero boyfriend, but she didn't. Instead, Marinette shot him a mischievous grin, spun on her toes, and ended in a perfect imitation of Cat Noir's battle pose, dark red nails tense like claws. "Well," she said in a sultry voice, "I'm only inspired by the best." Adrien gulped, eyes wide and staring. The small part of his brain that was still aware through the sudden surge of hormones was wondering how he got so lucky, because his lady loved him and was just... wow. She smirked at him with half-laden eyes, and he had to fight with himself not to kiss her right there in the middle of the crowded cafeteria. No, Marinette was Cat's girlfriend, not Adrien's, and... wait, what was wrong with this again? Marinette chuckled at his confusion and quirked an eyebrow at him. In fact, You could say that I'm Cat Noir's biggest fan. With that, she sauntered off across the room to where Alia and Nina were standing by the DJ booth, hips swishing to the music as if to taunt him. "Oh, you just wait, princess," he thought, a wide grin spreading across his face as fast as his blush. "Your kitty is going to have something to say about this little display, and I will kiss that adorable smirk off your face." The rest of the evening was torture. Adrien kept trying to talk to Marinette, but she was always a few steps ahead of him, reducing him to trailing behind her like a lost kitten. It didn't help that she danced with every guy in their class except him. She even stood under the mistletoe several times, only to duck away before he could get to her. It was infuriating, as if she was deliberately teasing him. Alia and Nina were in stitches the whole time. Alia especially was laughing so hard she was gasping for air, and the only words he could get out of her were, "Serves you right." Disgusted, he left the party and went to the bathroom to splash some cold water on his face and neck. "She got you good, lover boy," Plag cackled, clutching his sides with laughter. "It's like she's avoiding me, Plag, taunting me and getting me to chase her like this. Oh, please, as if you weren't doing the same to her." "It's not the same." "Why, because she's a girl?" "No, it's because she's, well, Marinette. I mean, she flirts with Cat, but it's pretty subtle even then. She doesn't act like this." "So, Pigtails has grown up and you hadn't noticed?" "Oh, I've noticed." Boy, had he noticed. That soft smirk under her half-laden eyes, the way that she swished her hips to the music when walking away from him, the light of mischief in her eyes when she had copied his pose. Wow, his heart was pounding again at the very thought. "She could just be getting back at you for flirting with her, you know," Plag said, clearly amused by his own emotional confusion. "Adrien isn't supposed to know she's dating Cat Noir after all." "True," he said in a mischievous grin, "but I think Cat Noir is going to visit Marinette tonight and see for himself." Plag snortled. "Just a minute that she got you, kid." "This is going to be fun, Plag. Claws out." Transformed, he snuck out the bathroom window as he had done so many times before. He launched himself to a balcony and leaned obviously against the rail, so there was no way she would miss him as she came home. It wasn't too long afterwards he heard the click of her heels against the pavement below. He looked down and smiled, his jealousy and frustration burning away like a morning fog. "I must admit to be the luckiest man alive to have this beautiful woman love me," he thought. "I shouldn't have tried to tease her tonight." Just then, she looked up and saw him on her balcony, outlined against the moon behind him. He could see her clearly in the golden glow of the streetlights, and she wore a pleased smile. "You make a strange Juliet there, Romeo," she called, laughter in her voice. He slid down his baton until he was next to her. "I was only guarding the castle while the princess was away at the ball," he said suavely. He held out his hand to her. "Care for a lift?" She chuckled, wrapping her arm around his neck as he used the baton to lift them back to her balcony. "So, to what do I owe the pleasure of a hero visiting me?" "I wanted to see my princess in all her glory before she turned into a pumpkin," he murmured, cradling her in his arms for a moment before settling her onto her feet. "How was your party?" "Nice," she replied simply, leaning her back against the railing and watching him steadily with those sapphire eyes as if she was working something out. "Nino has some new mixes that were pretty fun. I talked to Max about the Granthor dungeon release. Oh, and Alia was in hysterics for most of the night. Can't say I blame her, all things considered." "I bet you were the prettiest lady there." "What, begging for a fashion show?" "Only from you." Normally that would be the last thing he would want, but to have his lady showing off just for him, well, that was a delight for his eyes and his heart. She untied the string of a fleece cloak, draped it down around her shoulders, and did a little catwalk along the balcony for him to show off her dress. Grabbing her hand, he spun her around to admire the delicate curves and the swirl of the skirts and her hair before pulling her against him with a pleased smirk. "Do you like my gift?" he whispered, tapping one clawed finger against the bell at her throat, making it sing. "Of course," she chuckled. "I even had someone say I look like a lady cat noir." "Oh, I'm not sure this alley cat deserves to be praised alongside your beauty, princess." He couldn't help the purr that rumbled through his chest. After chasing her all evening, he had finally caught her. Not that she knew that, but it felt so good to hold her in his arms at last. "Why not? You're quite a catch in the looks department yourself, Cat," she quipped, that delightful smirk still playing around her mouth. "You're the only one I want to catch me, Marinette," he murmured, wrapping his arms just a little tighter around her. She looked at him speculatively. "And what would my kitty think if I told him he wasn't the only one trying to catch me this evening?" The purr deepened into a quiet growl. "Who do I need to hunt down?" "Oh, I don't know if I should tell you," she teased, putting her arms around his neck and leaning away so she could watch his face. "After all, I'm not sure you could stand the competition." He growled for real this time. "Who made a pass at my princess?" She stared at him, startled for just a moment before bursting out with a laughter so loud and clear it bounced off the surrounding buildings and echoed back to them from across the river. "You seriously don't think I wouldn't recognize my boyfriend when he flirts with me, Adrien?" she asked, giving him such a warm look and emphasizing his name in such a way as to send delighted shivers through him along with the shock. "You? How did you? Since when have... Ah!" he exclaimed, his brain overloading with this sudden and unexpected reveal. Marinette giggled and then, with a knowing look in her eye, flicked his bell. He groaned, pressing his forehead to hers in embarrassment. "I told you that your flirting would get you into trouble someday." He sighed in frustration. His lady was right, of course. 4 years of protecting his secret identity, and one of them keeping it from his partner and girlfriend while they dated, and he lost it all in one night because of a gorgeous girl in a silver bell. She chuckled at him. "At least now you have an excuse not to let Lila or Chloe hang all over you, or your father assign you a date to events." Come to think of it, being Adrien Agreste's girlfriend sounds like a lot of work. "So, my flirting with you this evening revealed my secret identity, and you did my battle pose? The swishing walk, the running away from me under the mistletoe to what? Get back at me?" His lady was looking far too smug about all this, but oh, that smirk of her was driving him crazy. "Just giving you a taste of your own medicine. You should have seen the look on your face. A true grumpy cat. Or would you rather I rejected you by saying you were just a friend?" Cat winced. "I deserve that. Do you forgive me, my lady, for not seeing what was in front of me for so long?" She rolled up onto her toes and placed a quick kiss on his lips. "Or behind you, as the case may be. Of course, kitty. But don't think I won't tease you about it." He sighed, resigned to the inevitable. "I'm not gonna live this down, am I?" "I'm afraid not. Sorry," she said, completely unrepentant. "You have no idea how hard it's been with you in class with me this past year, Marinette," he whispered, wanting to kiss you every morning on the stairs and show off how amazing you are. And tonight, I wanted to kiss you since you walked through that door, my lady. Really? She looked at him with an innocent stare but a knowing grin, snuggling closer within the circle of his arms. Your smirk? That dress? Wearing the bell I gave you? Everything about you was driving me out of my mind. And how would that have worked if I hadn't figured you out? Me kissing Adrien Agreste under the mistletoe when I've been dating Cat Noir for over a year? I don't know, but I also didn't care. Now that you know, any objections? He rubbed his nose against hers, his heart pounding against his ribs. She possibly couldn't have any now, could she? Unless she had been joking about how being his girlfriend meant more work. He couldn't deny what with his father, his fans, and the scrutiny from the media going public with their relationship would cause. It was high maintenance, or at least his life was, but she was Ladybug and he was Cat Noir. It's still us against the world, right? Adrien. Cool hands on his face brought him out of his thoughts, and instead he got caught in the love shining in her sapphire eyes. You're always worth it, she whispered fiercely. You've been there for me, and I'll always be there for you. We are a team, no matter what. Besides, she blushed darkly in the moon glow, I fell in love with Adrien first. I kinda guessed after last Christmas, but it feels so good to hear you say it. Relief, joy, surprise, and love exploded in his chest like fireworks, sending him higher than he could have believed possible. How long? When you gave me your umbrella? Her smile was sweet and full of so much love that his breath caught in his throat. And then, after our Christmas date 2 years ago, you listened to me and were so kind and respectful of my feelings that I couldn't help but fall in love with Cat. She chuckled, settling the bell ringing. I fell in love with you twice, Adrien. Say it again, Marinette. What? I fell in love with you twice? He chuckled. No, say my name. His lady smirk was back as she rose on her toes once more. I love you, Adrien, she whispered against his lips. Who needs mistletoe? He purred and kissed her as the fire of her words burned through him, making the winter night as warm as summer. Thank you for listening to Silver Bells. Woo! I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you smash that like button if you did. Send me some love. Send Jheqia some love for her amazing writing. All her information is in the description below. Make sure you comment down below. If you don't know what to say Silver Bells. Yeah, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next part and all the other goodies to come this holiday season. And I hope you're good, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.